Thanks, guys. I once had a guy come up to me at work and he said, "Grant, you should do stand-up." I said, "That's a bit rude." He said, "Why?" I said, "I can't stand up." I said, "Oh, sit down. Sit down with short jokes." All right, so I'm here today to do some motivational speaking. Now, being a successful person, you need to have good, positive outlooks in life. And my outlook on life is a bit like a hand of cards in a poker game. We all get dealt a different hand of cards at birth. A lot of people would say, I got dealt a crap hand. I like to say, challenging hand. In life, we all get choices. Choices on whether or not to fold, call, or to raise. Fold is to admit defeat, not giving yourself any chances in life to reach your full potential. Call is to sit back in life. Sit back in life and take no risk and play the safe card. Raise is to go out on a limb and make something from nothing. And that's pretty much how I've achieved some of the awards that I've achieved recently. House owner 7 years ago, dual Paralympian last year, dual Paralympic medalist, Tokyo. And recently I got the keys to the city when I got back. They don't unlock anything though, so I'm stuck there. All of you by now are probably wondering how I got to be like this. It was actually a very tragic story. Does anyone want to have a guess on why I'm walking around or hobbling around on a trike? Oh, I'll tell you the story. I was about 18 months old and I was mucking around in a dirty washing basket. My mum come in, grabbed all the washing, and she put it in the washing machine. Turned it on. Boom, 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 boom. Out I come, midget. And then when she had her second son, who's 4 years younger than me, that's my little bigger brother, Mitchell, she used Cold Power Plus, and that way he come out normal. No, I was born with a rare form of dwarfism called diastrophic dysplasia. It's a bit of a tongue twister, and apparently it's a 1 in a million chance of it happening. So I always tell everyone that my parents' chances of winning the lottery is gone. They got me instead. Poor guys. Now, I owe a lot to my parents. I look up to them, literally. They've been my role model. They've paved the way where I walk today. Without them, I wouldn't be the independent man I am today. The best thing they did was they didn't wrap me up in bubble wrap. They got me out there in life to have a go and be resilient and hardworking and so on. Who here has a friend with a short stature or a dwarf, whatever you want to call them? Anyone have a friend that's short? A few people. I get the occasional question when people ask me, do you like the word midget? A lot of short people hate that word. Be careful when you use it. But myself, I like to tell people, why get offended about a word? It's just a word. Like, if you're going to get upset about a word once a week, you're going to be sad 52 weeks of the year. Be happy. Like, you are what you are. Embrace it. And statistically speaking, 1 in 7 dwarfs in Australia are happy. And that's me. All right, I'm going to put on a little video quickly, and then I'm going to do some more talking. Enjoy. Roll it, Goose.
Patterson, a real character who's often sporting a large beard. Brian Patterson will bring success to the Australian camp again. They continue to rack up the medals here.
To get to your dreams and goals, you actually have to go out there physically and do stuff. Talk to people, do things. If someone like me can do what I've done for the past 13 years, anyone can do it.
Grant, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. You have a lovely night and good night, Australia. Thank you. So, as you saw, the highlight of that video, well, for me, was winning that silver and bronze medal. But that didn't happen overnight. It all starts with a dream when you're a youngster, and you have to work towards it. That dream for me started in 2000. I swam for 2 years, and I had a short-term, mid-term, long-term goal. The long-term goal was I wanted to represent my country at Australia at the Paralympics. 2002, my head coach at the time left to Melbourne, and because I was different, I didn't think anyone else would be able to coach me. So I threw in the towel for 5 years. So from 2002 to 2007, which was pretty much my high school career, I did nothing. I put on a lot of weight. I looked like Jabba the Hutt of Star Wars. I had no neck. I wasn't very happy with myself. All I really did in those 5 years was get my boat license and my car license. Now, me driving a car, it's a little bit different to everyone else here. I remember when I first bought my first car, I hadn't had any modifications on the car yet. And one of my mates, who's been my best mate for a long time, he drove my car down to a park, and I started practicing with a broomstick, had it between my toes, and I was holding it under my arm, and I was just poking like that. And he said, "Oh, you're doing it?" I said, "Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm like a real boy." Just playing the pedals. Anyway, I went home, and I called my dad out. I said, "Oi, come out here. I want to show you how I drive." He said, "What do you mean? That's not safe." I said, "Just come hop in the car and have a watch." Anyway, he saw me do that round the thing. He's like, "Oh, Jesus, we're going to have to do something. You're really keen on driving, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes." So what we did, obviously not this shoe, but one of my shoes I went to my formal in, we got a piece of PVC pipe about 9 inches long, cut the end and open it up like a flower, put it on the bottom of the shoe with gaffer tape, and then had a little rubber stopper on the end. So I was practicing with that for about 2 months. There was none of this hour stuff back then. That's how old I am. And anyway, once we got to the driving test, when I was going to get my Ps, we said, we might need to make it look a bit more professional than a piece of gaffer tape with plastic taped on. It doesn't look very safe, Grant. I said, "Yeah, true." So I went to the amputee clinic. They put on some aluminium thing, bolted it on, and it looks real fancy. Anyway, funny story I'm getting to, I went and hired a car one time when I was on a swimming trip with my mate Ahmed Kelly. You might know him. He's got no arms and legs. And we went into a rental place, and you can just imagine midget on a bike and a guy with no arms and legs going to a rental place for a car. We walk in and sit down, and they're like, "Oh, how can we help you?" I said, "Oh, we're here to hire a car. I'm Grant, and this is Ahmed." And the young fellas at the front going, I said, "Oh, bear with me. I'll be right back." So off he went. Come back with his supervisor. He said, "Oh, we've been looking in the system, and we have no cars that have hand controls." I said, "That's all right, we bought our peg legs." And that was so reassuring to me. Like, oh, great. These guys are going to bring it back in the coffin. Anyway, back to swimming. So 2007, I got back in the water, lost all my weight. I wanted to look better for the girls. Still hasn't worked. And September 2007, when I got back in properly, and I remember my parents saying, "Are you sure you want to do this? It's like 7 sessions a week, yada, yada, yada." And I said, "Yeah." And I ended up hopping in September 2007. I went to the Beijing Paralympic Trials, which is in 2008. and that was the following year, and I missed out on making a team by 1.5 seconds, and that was only with 6 months of training. And when me and my coach Herbie come back, we had a talk, and we said, imagine what we can do in 4 years. And so we went back to the grind, did all the work, and London 2012 was my first Paralympic Games, which was good. I learnt a lot there. I learnt the fear of failure, and I learnt learning how to not control the uncontrollable. Now, when I went into London, I was ranked second in the world from world champs in 2011. So, being a young 21-year-old, I had high expectations of myself on, yes, I'm going to go to London, I'm going to win a medal, everyone's going to love it, and, get sponsors and talks and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, that wasn't the case. In Paralympic sport, the classification isn't always fair, and that's sort of the turning point for me that I had to get my head around. I was too busy sitting there going, oh, why is he in that class and why is he there? I was trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead of me focusing on my own race, I was distracting myself with nonsense. Anyway, after I realised that it is what it is with the swimming classification, and all my friends and family, they're still going to be there, no matter if I come last or first. They're still going to know that as long as I put the hard work in, which I did, they're going to love me and respect me and so on. So London was a big learning curve for me. But after London, I was like, all right, we need to train harder, we need to get stronger, we need to get faster, and we need to win a medal at 2016, Rio. That's the plan. Little did I know, I didn't even go to Rio. I missed the plane. I didn't miss the plane. I didn't make the team. So, and that was it's a similar situation to 2012. The time wasn't fast enough. I was second the year before, come 2016, and I was now seventh from certain people, obviously pushing me down, and it didn't work. And I remember getting a phone call mid-2016 saying, sorry, Scooter, you're not going to Rio. You're going to miss this team. And I remember getting home from work, and I was talking to my parents about it, and I was so angry. I was like, this is so unfair. I just want to tell the world on the system of the Paralympic classification. But I said, Grant, this is why I'm so thankful for my parents. Grant, you have two options. You can ring up Current Affair or someone like that and go and stand on top of a mountain and complain. Or two, you can go back to the drawing board, train harder and better, not knowing if your opportunity of winning a medal or making other team will rise, but think about what the story would be. And I remember hanging up after that phone call, and I was sitting there thinking, I really want to go, like, this sucks. I've put in 8 years of hard work, and I'm not going. But there's a small part of my head, and that's the very aggressive mongrel side that does all the training, all that hard stuff. And he said, Grant, think about, you made London, didn't get a medal, Rio, you missed out completely. Just imagine, this was in 2016, imagine if you go to Tokyo and win a medal. Think about that story, how cool it would be. I said, I reckon it'd be pretty sick. Like, London, miss out, come back, Tokyo, win a medal. That'd be awesome. 5 years later, obviously COVID slowed it down. 5 years later, I had the biggest prize reward of my life. I remember Tokyo last year, my first race of winning a medal was the 150 IM, and Ahmed was in it with me as well. And I remember in that final, I was either going to get third or fourth, probably going off the heats. And I remember going down the last leg, and I remember hitting a wall in the freestyle, and I looked up, and all I saw was there's lights on the block when you win first, second, or third, and I saw 3 LEDs, and I was just like, yes, finally, fucking, I can just chill out. And then obviously 2 days later, I got a silver and a bronze, so I got more than what I bargained for. But it just goes to show that if you want something that bad, you have to push for it. You know, and it might not happen today, tomorrow, next week, next year. For me, it happened 13 years later. And swimming 9 times a week with gym in there, it's not easy, especially in winter, it's freezing. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story. There was a man who wanted to apply for a job at Google. He wanted to go work in a fancy place with the fancy stuff. Anyway, he went in with his resume, handed it in, and the guy who was hiring said, I want you to meet me down at the beach tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. He said, why? Meet me there if you want the job. Anyway, he's down there at 5 a.m. in the morning in his board shorts and his shirt, and it's a bit breezy, so it's a bit cold. Anyway, the guy from Google rocks up. He says, all right, we're going to go down into the water. And the guy who's applying for the job says, why? He said, I want to work at a desk. I don't want to be a lifeguard. And anyway, they're walking down into the water. They're in their ankles. And the old mate's like, stop, what are we doing? He said, keep coming with me. And they're up to their waist now. And he said, oh, mate, you got to stop this. This is ridiculous. Why are we here? He said, just a little bit more. Anyway, they're up to their chest height in water. And the fella from Google, all of a sudden, grabs the fella who's applying for a job, grabs him by the scruff of the neck, and just dunks him under water. He's underwater going, drowning. What do you think that guy was thinking of? Sorry? Does anyone want to have a guess? Don't be scared, I won't bite. What do you think he was thinking of while he was drowning? Surely someone's got something. What? Correct. Nice, but correct. He wanted to breathe. If we all put as much effort in our life as much as we want to breathe, we can go anywhere. So, I'd like to thank everyone here today for me sharing my story. I hope I've inspired those that have got goals set in place to not settle for second best. And for those that haven't got goals yet, I hope I can motivate you to get out there and set your goals as high in the sky as you possibly can. And then for all of you to know that it's up to each and every one of you how far you're willing to climb to get there. Now, before I finish, I just want to show, I've still got some time on the clock, I'm impressed. I want to show you that you're never too old to start something new. I've got a photo that a goose has got for me. I've started up go-kart racing. And who would think I work full-time, train full-time, I'd have enough time to do this. But tell you what, this stuff, I watched Drive to Survive, actually, that's what started it. And then I was like, I want to do go-kart racing. But see how I reach the pedals? It's all set up. Where you look at me going, if I rock up and say, I want to drive go-karts, they go, oh, how? You can't reach, you can't do this. A lot of people have that mindset. Me, fuck that. There's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Just do it. Thanks, guys.